Do you ever feel like you're sleepwalking through life? Like there's this incredible version of yourself trapped inside, but every day you choose the couch over the challenge, the scroll over the struggle? Here's a brutal truth that might sting. According to Friedrich Nietzsche, one of history's most provocative philosophers, you're not just wasting time, you're committing what he considered a form of spiritual suicide. Right now, as you're listening to this, you have a choice. You can keep living like what Nietzsche called a factory product, predictable, comfortable, and ultimately forgettable. Or you can wake up to the war that's happening inside you every single day, the battle between who you could become and who you're settling to be. Most people lose this war without even realizing they're fighting it. Here's what's happening to you right now, and it's more dangerous than you think. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through other people's lives, maybe watch some Netflix, do the bare minimum at work, come home, repeat. Sound familiar? Nietzsche would say you're not living. You're slowly dying from the inside out. But here's the twist that changes everything. Nietzsche wasn't just talking about lazy people sprawled on couches. He was talking about busy people too. The workaholics grinding 80-hour weeks, chasing promotions they don't want, buying things they don't need. Both the couch potato and the corporate slave are making the same fatal mistake. They're letting life happen to them instead of creating it. Nietzsche called this the difference between existing as a last man and becoming who you truly are. The last man is comfortable, safe, entertained, and completely hollow. Think about it. How many people do you know who seem successful on paper but feel empty inside? How many seem happy but never really grow? How many are alive but not actually living? This isn't just philosophy. This is your life we're talking about. In a world of infinite distractions, endless comfort, and algorithmic feeds designed to keep you passive, the stakes have never been higher. Your potential isn't just sitting there waiting patiently. It has an expiration date, and every day you postpone becoming who you're meant to be, a part of that potential dies forever. What Nietzsche discovered 150 years ago is more relevant now than ever. There's a third way between lazy comfort and mindless hustle. He didn't have a fancy name for it, but I call it joyful productivity. And it's the secret to a life that's both meaningful and successful, both peaceful and powerful. The question is, are you ready to stop being a factory product and start being an artist of your own existence? The two deaths that are killing you. Let me tell you about two people I know. Sarah spends her days binge-watching Netflix, ordering DoorDash, and scrolling TikTok. She's 28, lives with her parents, and constantly complains about being broke. Then there's Mark. He works 12-hour days, makes six figures, drives a BMW, and hasn't taken a real vacation in 3 years. He pops Adderall to focus and drinks wine to sleep. Here's the shocking part. Nietzsche would say both Sarah and Mark are dying the same death. Sarah's obviously lazy, sure, but Mark is what Nietzsche feared even more, someone who confused motion with progress, busyness with purpose. Both are avoiding the hardest question in the world: who am I supposed to become? Sarah numbs herself with entertainment, Mark numbs himself with achievement. Both are running from the same thing, the terrifying responsibility of creating themselves. And here's the kicker. Our society is designed to help them run. Netflix wants Sarah addicted. Mark's company wants him enslaved. Neither wants them thinking too deeply about what they actually want from life. The grasshopper's last summer. You know that old fable about the ant and the grasshopper? The grasshopper parties all summer while the ant works, then winter comes and the grasshopper starves. But here's what most people miss. The grasshopper wasn't stupid. He was making a calculated bet that summer would never end. Sound familiar? How many people do you know living like summer will last forever? Spending money they don't have, avoiding skills they need to learn, postponing conversations they need to have. They're not necessarily lazy, they're just betting that consequences will never come. But winter always comes. Sometimes it's a layoff, sometimes it's a health scare, sometimes it's just waking up at 40 and realizing you're exactly where you were at 30, just older and more tired. The grasshopper's tragedy isn't that he was lazy, It's that he thought he had infinite time. Here's what Nietzsche understood. The opposite of laziness isn't just working harder. It's developing what he called amor fati, love of fate. It's preparing not because you're afraid, but because you're excited about who you might become in the process. But let me tell you another story that'll blow your mind. There's this old tale about a fisherman who's out on his boat, catching fish, enjoying the sun. A businessman approaches him and says, "You should hire more fishermen, catch more fish, make more money." "Then what?" asks the fisherman. "Then you can buy bigger boats, hire more crews, make even more money." "Then what?" "Then you'll be rich enough to do whatever you want." "But I'm already doing what I want," says the fisherman. This story reveals the trap that catches successful people. They climb ladders without ever checking if they're leaning against the right wall. They optimize their lives for metrics that someone else chose for them. They become incredibly efficient at pursuing goals that were never really theirs. Nietzsche saw this coming. He predicted we'd create a world so focused on productivity that we'd forget to ask, productive towards what? He called this the herd mentality, following the crowd's definition of success instead of discovering your own.
The secret of joyful productivity. So what's the alternative? Nietzsche had a radical idea. What if work could be an act of self-creation instead of self-destruction? What if, instead of working to escape life, you worked to express life? Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something. Maybe you were cooking a perfect meal, writing something that mattered to you, or solving a problem you actually cared about. Time disappeared, right? You weren't watching the clock or counting down to break time. You were in what psychologists now call flow state, but what Nietzsche simply called becoming yourself. Here's the secret. Joyful productivity isn't about finding the perfect work-life balance. It's about finding work that feels like play, and play that builds something meaningful. It's about becoming so good at something you love that people happily pay you to do it. Look at any master, whether it's a chef, a programmer, a teacher, or an artist. They don't separate their work from their identity. Their work is their identity. They've found that sweet spot where passion meets skill, meets demand, and they live there. The path back to yourself. But how do you find that sweet spot? Nietzsche had a brilliant exercise. He said, look back on your life and ask, what have you truly loved? What has lifted your soul? What has mastered you and blessed you at the same time? Before the world told you what to care about, what did you naturally gravitate toward? Were you the kid who took apart radios, wrote stories, organized other kids, asked endless questions? Those early fascinations aren't random. They're clues to your authentic self. Here's what most people do wrong. They think passion is something you find, like a treasure buried in the sand. But Nietzsche knew better. Passion is something you develop through engagement. You don't find your passion sitting in meditation. You find it by trying things, sucking at them, getting better, and noticing what energizes you versus what drains you. The path is actually simple, just not easy. First, experiment widely. Try different skills, different problems, different ways of contributing. Second, notice what you're naturally curious about. Third, develop that curiosity into competence. Fourth, develop that competence into mastery. Fifth, use that mastery to solve real problems for real people. This isn't a career strategy, it's a philosophy of becoming. Every step reveals more of who you are. Every challenge faced with love instead of fear transforms you. Every small improvement compounds into a life that's uniquely yours. And here's the beautiful paradox Nietzsche discovered. When you stop trying to be productive and start trying to be authentic, you become more productive than you ever imagined possible. When work becomes self-expression, effort becomes joy. When you're building something that matters to you, time stops being your enemy and starts being your ally. Let's bring this all together. Nietzsche wasn't just criticizing lazy people, he was warning us about a much deeper danger: the death of our potential through spiritual sleepwalking. Whether you're numbing yourself with Netflix or drowning yourself in busy work, the result is the same. You never become who you're truly capable of becoming. But here's what gives me hope, and what would give Nietzsche hope too. You're still here, still listening, still questioning. That means the real you, the one with dreams and curiosities and unique gifts, is still alive in there. It might be buried under years of other people's expectations, but it's not gone. The choice is simple, just not easy. You can keep living as a factory product, following the script, staying comfortable and safe, or you can start the messy, uncertain, absolutely thrilling work of becoming yourself. You can find that thing you loved before the world told you it wasn't practical, and you can get so good at it that the world pays you to do it. Your potential has an expiration date. Every day you wait is a day you can't get back. But every day you choose growth over comfort, curiosity over certainty, authentic struggle over inauthentic ease, that's a day you become more yourself. Nietzsche believed that most people would choose comfort over greatness. The question is, what will you choose? If this video hit you where it counts, I need you to do something right now. Don't just let this be another piece of content you consume and forget. Hit that like button. It tells me this message matters to you and helps other people find it who might need to hear it too. But here's what I really want you to do. Leave a comment and tell me one thing you loved as a kid that you've abandoned as an adult. Maybe it was drawing, maybe it was asking big questions, maybe it was building things with your hands. What was it? And more importantly, what would it look like to bring a piece of that back into your life today? Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to remember who they used to be before the world got in the way. We're building a community of people who refuse to settle for factory product lives, and your story could be the spark that changes someone else's trajectory. And if you're ready to dive deeper into philosophy that actually changes how you live, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we're just getting started with ideas that don't just inform your mind, they transform your life. The choice is yours, but remember, choosing nothing is still a choice and time is still moving. What are you going to do with the potential that's waiting inside you?